Hi, I'm Steve Caliper. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey on behalf of Doing Good Better and the university that we've created. This session is on the art of donor relationships, and specifically relationship with your key donors, whether they're lapsed or some of your major donors, or it could be some individuals that you're pursuing. Really want to unpack for you today the difference between just connecting with people relationally and being able to outline goals and objectives, being able to articulate what it is that you've really accomplished and achieved, not as just an outcome, but really rather looking at it from an output perspective. And this is what I mean. As an illustration, we'll use a couple of examples. One being a youth-driven project or program. You may have a certain number of youth groups. You may have a certain number of kids in that youth group or the youth groups in general. But what I'm meaning is the output is how has the life of those kids changed because of your ministry or your program. If you're building water wells in a particular country or grouping of countries, it's not just a number of how many countries, how many communities, and how many wells, or how many people were even able to receive a fresh water solution or source, but rather how has the community changed because of the impact that you've made through providing that water. That's really the output that key individuals and donors are looking for. We look at also one other measurement, which is the Jesus film, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But it's really important that not just meeting with key individuals, donors, etc., to share with them and overwhelm them. I've often said that we can enthusiastically overwhelm donors or prospective donors because we want to just share everything. Be very clear to the tip of the arrow what it is that you feel like you're best at as a mission. What is the tip of the arrow? And then break down your programs into key initiatives so they can get their head around what it is that you're accomplishing and achieving and doing. Your programs may change, but if you know the mission of what it is that you're doing, you're at the tip of your arrow, and you break down your programs into maybe 3 or 5 key strategic initiatives, the donor can remember. See, part of the goal in the journey with key individuals is that they can recall and know what it is that you're doing to be a champion for you in community and with other relationships. So let's go back to outcomes versus output. Outcomes, as I've mentioned, is the number of kids in groups, the number of groups, and looking at what it is that you're doing, particularly within those groups as lessons or discipleship or whatever it is that you're doing. We could report 5 groups, 50 kids per group, so there's 250 kids, great. And there's a measurement to that from a dollar perspective. The other perspective that we're looking at is the output, which is the fruitfulness. Measuring how has one's life changed because of your ministry and your program. How is that changing the life of the individual, whether it be the kid or the families in a community receiving water. Really, at the end of the day, it's about bringing the message of hope and Christ from a hopelessness to a hopeful scenario. So let's go now to the Jesus film, because it's important that donors are often thinking about ROI, return of investment. The donor, because of an American culture, we think in years of calendar year. We think in terms of what happens during 2017, what happens during 2018 as a true or pure ROI. But when we look at the Jesus film, $5.2 million in the mid-1970s to make a film about Jesus to be shown around the world to unreached people groups, we would say, frankly, that was a crazy investment. $5.2 million in the mid-1970s was a lot of money, especially when you look at the number of people that saw the Jesus film in year 1. However, the output and the fruitfulness of the Jesus film over the first 10 years, the next 10 years, so 20 years, and even up to date, over the last, say, 40 years, is unmeasurable. So we often need to overcome the donor's mindset that they think of ROI, or return of investment, as what are you able to accomplish and achieve in a calendar year. So make sure that you're able to blend, what you're able to accomplish and do from groups, numbers of kids, and make sure that you're able to articulate life change that's taking place. In an ROI scenario with wells, to go back to that illustration, it comes down to number of countries, number of communities, numbers of wells. It's a measurement, but we've got to be able to bring in the fruitfulness and the output of what it is that you feel called to do. And when you blend that, at the beginning when I shared that you pursue their heart, let them ask questions, that will direct you to know how to navigate where the match is for a donor or prospective donor to engage you financially. Now, if they're able to articulate the tip of the arrow of your mission, that becomes a strong vocal voice in a community or certainly within a network of relationships. If they're able to craft even that three-pronged initiative or your three-pronged strategy, boy, that's a bonus. That's even better. So take a look at those avenues in that aspect. Now, from a tactical standpoint, I think it's really important between March and June, these next 3, maybe 4 months, this is the opportunity to look at 2 segments. One is a segment of active donors, especially mid-tier or major donors, that gave consistently, whether it be 2016 or 17. Use this window. Use this duration of time. Challenge yourself to recognize a certain quantity of donors that you want to connect with relationally. Now, you can do so either by meeting or you can have worthy conversations, but challenge yourself to have a certain quantity of meetings. Share, ask the right questions, start to discuss and talk about the fruitfulness of your ministry and your efforts, still not losing the fact that you've got the quantifiable goals, which is your outcomes. Certain number of groups, certain number of countries, certain number of kids, certain number of water wells and people served or reached. But start to weave into what is the fruitfulness and the output of your efforts. And by doing so, and by that combination, you'll start to get donors to ask you about what it is that you need. That's really the art of it. Now, the other group that I want to make sure that you're challenging yourself with is the lapsed donor. Somebody that's given consistently, maybe for the calendar year prior, which would be 2016 or earlier. Identify and look at those lists and make a commitment. Make a commitment to look at who from the lapsed category, someone that did not give in 2017, that you want to be proactive with, pursue, ask for a meeting, and even when you're with them, give them an update, thank them. Hopefully that'll encourage them to want to stay engaged and involved with you from an economic standpoint to supporting your efforts. Number of scenarios, life, business, various circumstances, maybe they forgot, but by pursuing them during this time of the year, it'll give you a better window and a better opportunity to circle back and to connect with them in the fall, where we still know that that is the bigger season for people to support financially. So in the art of pursuing people relationally, make sure that you're bringing in, again to recap, the fruitfulness or the output of what it is that you're accomplishing, not just in this current calendar year, but how does that play out long term? But still don't lose the number of initiatives and programs from how is there socioeconomic change, how is there a psychology difference in perhaps a particular community. Looking at all aspects, it's really important. Now, make sure that you're pursuing. Ask for small durations of time to get on their calendar, 30, 45 minutes. Don't forget you can have an effective phone call that can still be a worthy discussion. So on behalf of Doing Good Better University and all of our efforts to assist and serve you, I hope that today's insights, teachings have been helpful to you. We want to be available. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We appreciate greatly that you're a part of this journey. Thank you so much. God bless and have a great day. Thank you so much.